Mike just said, this is a mistake.
This is a mistake.
Because you're gonna buy this.
You'll end up buying one of these.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, sick! Jesus!
It's been nearly 10 years since the Model 3 was originally unveiled, and I think personally it's safe to say this thing is unbeatable. There's really no other electric vehicle that has shaken the industry like the Tesla Model 3 has, because it surpasses the US borders, okay? This has not just been a phenomenon within the United States. This has taken over the world, and Tesla really got serious, I think, once they started unveiling more mass-market, affordable vehicles. I don't think that many people were convinced of electrification being the future, when at first we were just seeing very high price, high performance sedans and roadsters come out. People were like, okay, maybe there's a cool, stylish, and luxurious way to build EVs, but luxury fuel sources are definitely not what overall moves the needle. The Model 3 is what convinced the rest of the automotive industry that it is in fact possible to make a profitable, scalable, desirable, all-electric vehicle. And yes, I know it's easy to say the Model Y is the king because that's become the bestseller, but the truth is, the Model Y unveil was very disappointing and uneventful because for the most part, it's really just a Model 3 scaled up, at least from the beginning. 75% of the parts that went into the Model Y were the exact same parts going into the Model 3. Basically, the Model 3 walked so that the Model Y could run. Yes, a lot of people love their hatchbacks, and it's hard to deny the popularity of a larger vehicle. Unfortunately, around the world, people just love having all of that additional storage space. But the Model Y wouldn't have happened if it weren't from the learnings and education that Tesla gained from trying to make an even more affordable vehicle than the Model Y, and that, of course, started with the Model 3. If you go back and watch reviews from late 2017 when the Model 3 first started coming onto the market, you'll realize that even though it's been 8 years since its initial launch, there is still basically no vehicles on the market that can compete, even with that original Model 3. We're talking a vehicle that had the NACS port from the beginning, a vehicle with up to 250 kilowatt fast charging. You still don't see that on most other competitors' electric vehicles, and not to mention the insane value you get for the performance on the Model 3, and now, of course, with the refresh and refined aerodynamic profile, Tesla has made the best range electric vehicle for the money, and no one else on the market really even comes close to it, especially once you start looking at how impressive the supercharger network is, the availability, the ease of the NACS port, knowing that the cable's gonna reach every time, and the efficiency in road tests is just insane. We're seeing people do 70 to 80 mile per hour highway speed tests and getting over 5 miles per kilowatt hour. You just do not see this in other vehicles at this price point on the road. With a range coming close to 400 miles on a vehicle that is under $40,000 with the federal tax credit, the Model 3 is an example of what I think a mature, undeniably great electrified product category goes. I don't think we're there yet with pickup trucks. You know, the range is not right there, the recharge time and the efficiency and the aerodynamics. We still need some time before electric pickups can be better than gas pickups in every way. And to a certain extent, a lot of people still feel that way with SUVs. We're seeing some very high range, very fast charging, and very storage optimized SUVs on the market, but they're not affordable, they're very, very high price, and they're having a difficult time competing with the Toyota Highlanders of the world, where you can get, you know, a 3-row spacious SUV with lots of storage capacity for well under $30,000. It's probably gonna be a while before EVs can actually start delivering on that. But as far as the sedan market is concerned, this is the one product segment that I just feel like, okay, you really have no excuse to not get a Model 3. If you're in the market for an efficient commuter vehicle, I know from the experience of owning a Model 3 for the past 3 years that the storage space is still insane. My wife and I routinely use the frunk on our Model 3, and we have car camped inside it many, many times. I love how simple it is to just press one button in the HVAC settings, and now we stay warm inside the cabin all night. It's allowed us to camp comfortably in the middle of the woods, also wake up to ocean waves in the morning, and the affordability of the charging has has made the Model 3 a flight replacement for many of my family circumstances. It's like, well, we could all pay for a flight to go up and visit family up north or down south, or we could just take the Tesla and then we don't have to rent a car when we're there. We can take as much stuff as we want. We're not worried about checked luggage getting lost or weight penalties because there's still a ton of room for stuff in the trunk, and we get a great road trip out of it. The vehicle is comfortable. The seats are super soft and easy to ride around in for hours and hours at a time. The glass roof allows for amazing visibility, and that's still something I miss out on every time I'm in a different vehicle. It feels like the hoods are too big or the windshield's not tall enough, but the Model 3 really gives you that feeling of openness on the inside, and even when you stop to charge, you've got a great sound system and TV right there ready to go to play movies and TV shows while you're charging. That's why I've put over 67,000 miles on my Model 3 in under 3 years of ownership, is because it's just such a delight to drive and ride around in and travel in, and I love the fact that Tesla started with it. I see so many automakers that want to begin with the crossovers, the SUVs, because that's the more popular segment, but what I think is a really great opportunity for electrification is for us to rethink vehicle form factors from the ground up. And I think what the Model 3 at least has taught me is that you don't necessarily need a crossover or a large vehicle to move substantial payload and to move a decent number of people. 4 people and all of our luggage for 10 days worth of travel just in the Model 3, and that went through snow, that went through the freezing cold, and that's with the rear-wheel drive LFP variant. And I know that it's only going to be better on the newer Model 3s, now rocking over 100 miles more range than my Model 3 can do, and adding ventilated seats, more HVAC controls for the backseat passengers, improving the ride quality, improving the cabin noise, and that utility and that convenience alongside the affordability, I hope can convince many people out there that they don't necessarily need to buy the most expensive vehicle possible. I genuinely believe that the best Tesla is the cheapest one, because you honestly do still get really great traction control with rear-wheel drive. I've experienced that myself. It really comes down to winter tires or snow tires more at the end of the day than whether or not you have a front motor, and there's a lot of competitors out there that are trying to one-up the Tesla Model Y. The Model Y at the end of the day is just kind of like a blown-up Model 3, and if you really want something with way more storage space than a Model 3, I feel like the up-and-coming Rivian R2 is going to be a bit more SUV than crossover, and yet starting at a similar price point. And the Tesla Model S and X are just dated. They don't offer that much more than what the 3 and Y are already offering for substantially higher pricing, and the Cybertruck I still think needs some time to marinate. That range needs to get better, and I think some better practicality between attaching the bed to the cabin could go a long way. Not to mention the stainless steel has been very problematic for buyers out there, making wraps originally an aesthetic choice, now more and more a kind of necessary function, which just adds to the overall cost, which is why looking at the Tesla lineup, I really think there's just so little to complain about with the Model 3. There's so little competition out there trying to touch it, and it's an incredible vehicle. I know that with the sales of the Model Y, it's easily overshadowed because everyone just wants to talk about how great the Model Y is selling, but I think it's a huge missed opportunity that more companies aren't acknowledging or realizing that the second place of best-selling EV is incredibly killer, and no one else on the market wants to come close to it. So while it may not be the most popular trim, I do think it's the best trim, and I hope that everybody out there who's in the market for a Tesla could at least give a Model 3 a test drive before committing to the Model Y, because I think at the end of the day, what's probably going to affect you more than overall storage space is probably range, efficiency, and price. And the Model 3 wins that over the Model Y every single time. It's lower to the ground, it's more aerodynamic, it gets better range with the same size battery pack because it is more efficient. That means that even if you're paying top dollar for electricity where you live, the Model 3 costs less to operate, and that ties into the purchase price. Even the upfront cost of the vehicle is lower with the Model 3 compared to the Model Y, and that puts more money directly into your pocket that you can use for more utility features. Maybe it's a roof rack, maybe it's a different stroller that folds up a little bit better. Maybe you want to go third party and install a tow hitch on the Model 3, not so that you can do intensive towing, but maybe just a little trailer to pack a little bit more stuff with you when you need it. But I think EVs are a great lesson for all of us to figure out that yes, we can get by very comfortably and conveniently with less, and the Model 3 unlocks all kinds of performance and handling benefits that you're just just not gonna get on a larger, bigger vehicle anyway. So that's why I feel kind of meh about everything in Tesla's lineup, except for the Model 3. It's just unbeatable, and they did such a great job with it. The fact that there's really nothing else coming out soon close to compete with a 5-seater that can get over 5 miles per kilowatt hour at this low of a price point with great handling, great visibility, not to mention all of the fantastic software and self-driving tech that Tesla is building into it. I can't help but be amazed by it. It's just fantastic engineering. I still very much love my Model 3. Can't wait to drive it again, and I hope you guys can appreciate the amazing engineering that went into it so that you can love driving it as much as I do. And if you're thinking about buying one, of course, use a referral code like the one in the description. It doesn't cost you anything, but it immediately shaves off a decent chunk of change from the purchase price, and that allows you to get that dream color you want or that dream interior you want. I recommend the white personally. I think it ages much better than the black, but get whichever model you want. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. It seriously helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. And thanks again. Have an excellent rest of your day.